Palestine!
Wow.
Yes, bro, free Palestine, man, free Palestine.
Will you sign this for me, please?
Yes, I'll sign it for you, no problem. There you go.
Oh.
I told you, it's really quite extraordinary. It's really. Thank you. Thank you, my friend.
Wow.
Thank you. Back in March, I came over and met with George Galloway and the Muslim vote people and the independent councillors in George Galloway's office in Rochdale shortly after he won the election. And they all agreed that I would be the candidate here. And I said I'd only do it if I hadn't got a good local candidate. And they said no, they wanted me to do it. And we then went forward. We had a big public meeting where I was endorsed and publicly announced, and all the independent candidates for the council were there with George Galloway. We endorsed them for the local elections and they endorsed me for the general election.
Yeah.
And then after I'd announced and fundraised and all that stuff, they suddenly said, no, they've got their own candidate. They wanted a different bloke, much to my astonishment. And they broke the alliance with the Workers' Party. And I've never, ever, to this day, understood why. I have no idea why that all happened. It did now mean that there's now an independent standing against me with the support of the independent councillors who were originally the people who originally called me to come here. And that's going to split the vote and cause a real danger that Labour will get back in. So it's been unpleasant, and it's involved people lying and cheating and breaking their word, and it's all the sort of horrible side of politics.
I mean, the Muslim vote got into into a mess last week because they were suggesting that some Labour MPs were worth voting for. I mean, some of these organisations that are endorsing candidates, I mean, it's kind of questionable what their motives are and where they're coming from, isn't it?
I think it's very questionable. I think what's happened here is really quite remarkable. And the Muslim vote as an organisation were themselves there, present, represented at those early meetings where it was decided I would be the candidate. It wasn't just with the independent councillors, the people from the Muslim vote were there. And then they turned around and endorsed this other candidate instead. And I mean, bluntly, there are people across the entire Muslim world who know what Craig Murray has done for Palestine and the rights of Muslims all over the globe, against extraordinary rendition, against torture, against Guantanamo, against the Prevent programme. I've been campaigning on these issues for Muslims for decades. And the idea that the Muslim vote would endorse a candidate against Craig Murray is astonishing. I mean, I'm flabbergasted. I'm really, and I feel, what have I done to deserve this? It's really been hurtful, personally hurtful. It's been, a nasty experience, and it's going to potentially stop us winning a seat, which otherwise we would win quite easily, I think.
I mean, it's not only here though, because we see that in other places. So does that make you feel like there's something generally kind of strange going on across the country? I mean, it's not just Blackburn.
Certainly here, the people who are behind the most prominent independent candidate, he himself I think is genuine, but the people who are behind him, who are putting him up and backing him and providing the money and support for his campaign, are all the people who were behind Jack Straw and his candidacy, including Jack Straw's previous agent. So I strongly suspect that this is a Labour Party thing to split the independent stroke Workers' Party vote to help get the Labour Party back in. I think this is this is redolent of Labour Party dirty tricks. I'm pretty sure that's what's going on.
We never really know where the end of Labour Party dirty tricks is, do you? I mean, it just carries on and on. I mean, they smear people, they suspend, they pull people out of elections at the last minute, and now this is beyond belief that they'd actually possibly be trying to split the independent, the vote against them. It's just a crazy scenario.
I agree entirely, and it seems like they're doing it not only here. As far as I can gather, this is going on all around the country, where the Labour Party is putting up fake independent candidates in order to split the vote for the real independent
and
candidates.
No one in the media has actually reported this at all, have they? No national media has made anything of this trend that we're seeing. Us on the left, if you like, have seen this quite clearly over the last couple of weeks, and it's just ignored.
It is, and it's, but also the national media, and the national media are just going Starmer, getting their man into power. And the collapse in the Labour vote isn't being portrayed at all. I stood for election here in Blackburn in 2005. I came and helped with an independent candidate's campaign in 2010. And I can tell you something, in any normal general election, by this time, this area would be plastered in Labour Party posters. Half of every house would have, half of all the houses would have Labour Party posters in the window, undoubtedly, always, in this area of Blackburn. And yet, I haven't seen a single Labour Party poster anywhere. There just aren't any.
No, but I was thinking, because actually today has been quite sad, because Claire Daly has lost her seat in the European Parliament, and I can't help thinking, only having her and Mick Wallace in the European Parliament was a massive fillip, because we hear those arguments coming out. So it shows how important it is that we get one or two or three or four or five articulate MPs in Westminster who can do the same kind of thing.
Yeah, no, I think that's extremely important, and I mean, the reason I'd like to be in Westminster is to have that platform to amplify my views, and also to give me more standing when I'm going to the United Nations Human Rights Committee or places like to argue things. Increases my profile, increases the respect paid to me, and so I want it to be able to do that kind of work. But I'm absolutely gutted about Claire Daly. I mean, she's a lovely person and a brilliant communicator.
I'll tell you what, I've never seen anything like this. I mean, I think I once walked behind a celebrity who was like an actor or a pop star or something, but that's the equivalent of what I've just seen here with Craig Murray.
You're the one that's standing up, aren't you?
I am indeed. Yeah.
Are you freeing Palestine or what?
Yep.
Are you sure? What's this?
Well,
What's in it? I've seen you on TikTok,
they are brilliant.
Yeah?
Yeah, really pleased to hear that.
But just a quick question.
Yeah.
I have to ask everyone. I've asked Tiger Patel.
Yeah.
I've asked Adnan Hussein.
Yeah.
I've asked them all. When this war started in Palestine over 70 years ago,
Yeah.
where was everyone then?
Yeah.
Why is it now that an independent party has stood up,
Yeah.
and all these people that we've never heard of in our life
Yeah.
are now standing up saying we're going to free Palestine? Where was everyone 70 years ago?
Yeah.
Where was everyone 50 years ago? Where was everyone 40 years ago? And where was everyone 10 years ago?
Well, I can tell you 40 years ago I was campaigning hard for Palestine. I joined Defence of Palestine in 1977. And then 40 years ago, in 1980, I helped twin Dundee with Nablus in the West Bank. I've been working with the Palestinian government for decades. So I've been at it a long while.
So
a
what
long
change
while.
will you make?
Well, ultimately, I want to see a single democratic state of Palestine. I want Israel to disappear completely because it's an apartheid, racist state. And you can't. I don't believe in a two-state solution because there's not enough left of Palestine. And Israel's taken so much. The West Bank's all disjointed, tiny bits. Gaza's been destroyed. There isn't a two-state solution to this. We've got to abolish apartheid Israel and have one single state of Palestine in which everyone's equal, whatever their ethnicity or religion or whatever.
So
that's where I want to get.
So you're standing up for MP of Blackburn, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So that's fine. I'll believe whatever you got to say about Palestine.
Yeah.
Yeah? What are you going to do for Blackburn?
Well, as a party, the Workers' Party, we've got policies. We want to abolish university tuition fees. I come from Scotland. We don't have university tuition fees in Scotland, so that's perfectly doable. Want to nationalise the energy companies, nationalise electricity and gas because they're making obscene profits. Want to nationalise the water companies because, again, of the sewage problems and the profits these companies are making while not putting in the investment. We've got a whole raft of policies.
And what about the younger generation? What are you going to do for them? Because right now there's limited things the younger generation can do. You've got a lot of the younger generation dealing drugs, taking drugs. From where I'm stood, I'll be honest with you, I don't take offence from it.
No.
A lot of people that have stood up for the independent party are just there to boost their own ego and to stand up for their own pocket. I don't believe that there's a single member that stood up in Blackburn that's actually thought about the local community, thought about who they're standing up for, thought about who they are raising their awareness for, except, oh yeah, we'll do this for Palestine, we'll do that for Palestine, but nothing's happened.
Yeah.
So how many more marches is it going to be? How many more deaths is it going to be before something actually happens?
Well, it's hard. I mean, the situation in Gaza is extremely difficult to get it stopped. I was involved with taking the Israel to court, to the International Court of Justice. I was actually there in the International Court of Justice for the genocide case with the Palestinian delegation. And I was involved with South Africa in getting the case brought in the first place. By getting that through and then the International Criminal Court warrant against Netanyahu, etc., gradually, bit by bit, you put the blocks in place to stop it, because people will start to become concerned, for example, that they can be found liable for supplying arms to Israel if Israel's found guilty of genocide. But it's not a quick fix. There is no quick policy. The Americans and the Israelis want to genocide Gaza. There's no doubt about it. I'm not saying to you I can stop them immediately, but we can take these steps and work on it and work as hard as we can to keep going along it. And there's worldwide opposition. The people, all the people, a majority of them are against the genocide, but it's the control of the Zionist lobby on the political class, which is the difficulty we're fighting. I'm sorry about...
You know what, can I take a picture with you?
Yeah, of course you can.
Yes, boys, I'm stood in Blackburn right now, Wally Range outside Manchester Sweet Centre. I'm with the one and only Craig Murray. He's standing up for election. Yeah, and Craig, words for the boys.
Good to see you. And we're fighting in this election because we're fighting to end the genocide in Gaza. We're fighting to take the war criminals and the genocide criminals to the criminal court, and that's not just Netanyahu, that's Biden and Sunak and von der Leyen and a lot of them, and we're going to not let this happen again.
Yeah, 100%.
So look, you've got all these leaflets that you're putting out, and there's a lot of activity on stuff behind me. What have you covered so far? I mean, how can people help you in your campaign? I mean, it looks like you've covered quite a lot of Blackburn, but you've still got more to do.
Yeah, we've still got quite a lot more to do. We've had about 28,000 of the first leaflet have so far gone out. Plus, we've had a couple of meetings, and there have been 5,000 leaflets out for the first meeting, a few thousand leaflets out so far for the Chris Hedges and Richard Medhurst meeting. We need help. I mean, getting out the leaflets is a huge task. And the leaflets have been really very effective, honestly. It's the leaflets that have generated the awareness that we saw in the street. So it's very, very important, but we do need people. And we've had volunteers come from 9 different countries so far, actually come from those countries to volunteer, not just people from those countries who happen to be here. So it's a nice atmosphere. We enjoy ourselves after work, and then in the morning we crack back on again. So anyone who's coming who's got time, come to Blackburn and find us and give us a hand.
Yeah, and you get free curry from a restaurant, so I mean you might be able to share one curry.
We might be able to find some food for people. Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah. And Ingles here, who's you're the campaign. You're the agent. Election agent. Yeah,
Yes,
that's right. Yeah,
I am indeed.
And you've been doing this before. You've done this before. Are you impressed by the response to
I'm
Craig?
absolutely amazed, because normally you would see by now Labour posters plastered on windows and walls and everywhere, and there's nothing. And people driving past here, the heart of Blackburn is here in Whalley Range, and we were trying our best to cover the area and make sure that people are happy with a new MP to be elected.
Who's that?
Very much Craig Murray. He's the cream of the crop.
Right. So yeah, and where did you get your hat? Because I like hat.
Well,
is that?
This is a donation from somebody who bought this months ago, and I thought that was rather fitting, don't you?
Yeah. We need to get more of those out. So do let me know where we can get hold of them, and we'll.
Well, I might actually give you one. Hang on.
Oh, we've got one. Look at that. But my head's always too big for these things.
Yeah, my head's also, but these ones actually do fit me.
Do they?
Let me guess.
No, that's not going to work. There's no way.
Don't say your head's too big. You haven't got a big head. You're not a big head.
Oh,
Try that.
Thank you.
How
So there
is
you go.
that?
Look, I'm now part of. This is a bonus for me coming up to Blackburn, meeting Craig, getting a hat. I mean, come on, you get a curry and a hat. What more do you need, eh?